And today we'll be talking about some of the most important questions of this chapter, Deep Water, and it's from class 12th English Flamingo. So I'm assuming that you guys have a basic idea about the concept of this chapter, because this chapter being a little tricky, you must understand the concept first before heading into these questions. So let's have a look at these. The first question is, which place was better for learning swimming and why? So in the beginning of the chapter, the poet talks about a river and a pool. So the answer lies here. Let's see. The YMCA pool was better for learning swimming. The reason behind this was that the Yakima River, which was the other place to learn, was believed to be treacherous in nature. So there was a river called Yakima which was a little dangerous for swimming, which the author's mother believed and always warned him about. So the only place the author had to learn swimming was the YMCA pool. So the next one is, how did the fear of water came to author's mind for the first time? So basically, what's the first fearful experience of author with water? So let's have a look. The fear of water came to author's mind for the first time when he was 3 or 4 years old. The author went to a beach in California with his father where the waves knocked him down despite standing with the support of his father. So the author went to this beach in California with his father, and both of them were just standing near the water, where the author even grabbed his father's hand and just having fun. But suddenly a wave came in, a huge wave, which just knocked him down in the water. He just, got pushed by the wave. So that was his first fearful experience, which just stayed in his mind for a very long time. Let's see the third one. How did the author feel when a boy tossed him into the swimming pool? So once the author came into the pool and there was no one else, and suddenly a boy came in and just pushed him. So let's see. When a boy tossed the author into a swimming pool, then he felt very terrified, and these 9 feet of depth of the water felt like 90 feet to him. So as I mentioned, it was a very fearful experience for him when he was around 4 years old. So that was in his mind, and in this incident a boy just came in and just pushed him into the water. So it was so fearful for him that it was just 9 feet deep, that pool, and it felt like 90 feet for him because of the previous fear. So the next question is, how did the author learn swimming? So after so much of fear and so much of struggle, the author finally decided to learn swimming. Let's see how he did it. The author had an instructor to learn swimming. The author practiced 5 days a week with an hour each day. The instructor put a belt around the author's body and around the overhead, and that belt was connected to a rope. The instructor held onto the end of the rope and went back and forth multiple times across the pool. They practiced this regularly. This reduced the author's fear of water a lot. Then the instructor taught the author how to exhale underwater and how to raise the nose and inhale. The author practiced this exercise also for a long period of time, which eventually helped him to overcome his fear. After this, the author learned to kick his legs underwater, and with this, he learned swimming completely. So the author finally hired an instructor to learn swimming, and he started teaching him multiple things one by one, and the author himself used to practice 5 days a week, with each day 1 hour. So firstly, what the instructor used to do was, he used to put a belt around the author's overhead and the whole body, and that was connected to a rope, and the instructor used to hold the end of the rope and used to teach author to go forward and come back in the water. So that was a very productive practice to begin with for the author. So this started reducing the fear of water for the author. Then the instructor taught author how to inhale and exhale during swimming. Like when someone has to inhale during swimming, then it is obvious that he has to raise his nose, otherwise he can't inhale. So that's what the instructor taught the author very carefully, and he could obviously exhale with his nose underwater. So that's what the instructor taught the author completely. And all these exercises which the author was being taught by the instructor, the author personally used to practice multiple times. So after all of these, the author had to learn how to kick his legs underwater, and it was a bit challenging initially for the author because his legs wasn't used to it, but eventually he got used to it and learned swimming. And during all these practices, his fear reduced time to time, but the eventual fear finally reduced later on. So we have this final question, which is, how did the author conquer his fear of water? So this is where you're gonna get all the necessary answers which you want to. After learning swimming completely from the instructor, the author still had some fear of water left in him, which he faced when he was in the pool alone. But this time the author was brave enough to go to Lake Wentworth in New Zealand, Hampshire, where he swam 2 miles from Triggs Island to Stamp Act Island. Even during this, the old fear returned just once when he was in the middle of the lake. Finally, he went to the warm lake of Meade Glacier where he swam across the other shore and came back with absolutely no fear. That's when he conquered the fear of water. So after learning swimming completely from the instructor, when author used to swim in the pool alone, that old fear of water used to return. So the author just told himself that let's go to Lake Wentworth, which is in New Zealand, Hampshire, and swim with confidence with leaving the fear behind. So he did go there and he swam from the Triggs Island to Stampeck Island. But even during this journey, that fear of water returned to him for some time. And because of that, he wasn't satisfied there. So he went to the warm lake of Meade Glacier, and in that lake, he just swam across the whole lake and came back also from the other end. And that time, he had actually conquered the complete fear. There was no fear left in him of water, and he was very happy with it. So these are the 5 questions I arranged, and obviously all the questions and answers will be covered in another video. And if you think you have any confusion regarding these questions, then you can ask me in the comment section. And if you want a summary of this chapter, then also let me know in the comments. So I'll make another video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.